Okay, we got 432 hertz. Mozart. So as I said before, when you're listening to this, you're getting genetically healed? Maybe. So I saw an article today and very, very telling. Very telling. We talked about this a little bit before, but at this point, I mean, this could convince any disbeliever of about the new policies that are being put in place in the United States and have already been put in place in much of the world, which is very unfortunate. It's very difficult to get. The thing is that when you have, let's say you have freedom of speech. 1 second, Connecting Consciousness TV. I'll be right back. Let's say you have freedom of speech, right? And the government, let's say, or the corporations try to take that away. It's actually not that hard to keep it if everyone bands together, says, no, like we want our freedom of speech, And interestingly, let's kick this wing nut out. I just had to reconnect Connecting Consciousness TV over here. What I'm saying is that when you have your rights, it's pretty easy to keep them if everyone doesn't give them an inch. If no one gives them an inch, then it's easy to keep your right of, let's say, freedom of speech, or let's say, right to privacy, etc. But here's the issue. It's difficult. It's a lot more difficult to get your rights back if you let them be taken away in the first place. Okay? You do not want to let them get taken away in the first place, because that's when it's a very slippery road. I mean, it's very difficult to get them all back. Very difficult. Now, I just saw an article, and it says a little history lesson, a little gun history, and it shows a picture. I just posted this in my Telegram. You may have already read it. But a little gun history. It shows a picture of a cement roller, like bulldozing thousands of guns on this boardwalk, and it says a little gun history. Okay, so this is for those who are wondering about should we be safer by giving up our guns. That's a good question. Should we give up all our guns and be safe that way? In 1929, the Soviet Union established gun control. That means not that there's no guns, but that the government controls who has the guns. Remember that. The Soviet Union established gun control. From 1929 to 1953, about 20 million political dissidents, in other words, people who don't appreciate maybe what the communist government was doing, unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and exterminated. Okay, I'm talking like this is like genocide. In 1911, Turkey established gun control. From 1915 to 1917, 1.5 million Armenians, unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and exterminated. Armenians, the Armenian genocide. That's a big thing. I went to summer camp with an Armenian guy. We were talking, and he told me, man, it was not a good time. I mean, he was young. Like it was his parents or his grandparents who went through it. But China established gun control in 1935 from 1948, or in 1935. And then from 1948 to 1952, 20 million people unable to defend themselves were rounded up and exterminated. This goes on for about maybe 7 different countries: Cambodia, Uganda, Guatemala, Germany, of countries where everyone thought, let's be safe, let's give up our guns. And then shortly after, there is a genocide by the state. Now, this is the strange thing. It's very easy to believe that society will be safer if there are no guns, right? The issue is that there will never be no guns unless we ascend into the 4th dimension or the 5th dimension. Okay? You hear me clearly. As long as we are in the 3rd dimension and humans are in the 3rd dimension on Earth, there will be firearms. Okay? The only thing is that an armed society, the more law-abiding citizens who carry firearms, the less crimes are committed. Okay, the less firearm crimes are committed. That's 100% fact. When you look at countries that have fully banned guns from the public, from the public being able to use them, like, what's that country? Honduras. Highest homicide rate by guns in the entire world. They're fully banned. Guns are fully banned. For some reason, criminals aren't obeying the law there. So I say this is my plan. I'm going to call up Trudeau and say, listen, Trudeau, it's time to increase the mandatory minimum punishment. Thank you. I'll try to find her, who was that, Carbine. Appreciate that. I'm calling Trudeau and say, we have to raise the minimum sentence for murder, because murder isn't illegal enough. And if we make it illegal enough, it'll stop happening. Doesn't that make sense, Trudeau? And he'll say, dude, we'll ban guns, and then what happened in the UK will happen here. We'll have mass stabbings. The number of homicides and deaths won't drop, but the tool that's used to kill will be transmitted from firearms to knives, or from, in India, it's knives and it's acid. I mean, it's crazy. People will use whatever, hammers. I mean, it's crazy. That's why law-abiding citizens should be able to arm themselves. And they're already trying to pass a law in the United States where they don't think that being able to carry a gun is a right, is a human right. But here's the thing. If police are allowed to carry a gun to defend themselves, okay, remember, what is legal for the government but at the same time illegal for the citizens, that is called tyranny. No one should have a right above what if you really want to talk about equality, okay, people are talking about equality, equal rights. Well, hold on. Think about it for a second. There should be no one out there who can do something that you can't. We should literally all be equal, okay? So if Secret Service, military, police, etc. are allowed to hold and walk around with firearms, you should too. There's no reason why that should not. And think about it. If you're a law-abiding gun owner, if you're a law-abiding citizen, rather, okay, look at the states that have the strictest gun control, that have the strictest laws imposed on law-abiding citizens, because they're the only ones that adhere to those laws. Think about it. The most gun crimes that happen in the United States is either suicide or gang activity, and all the gang members illegally obtained those weapons in the first place. So when you pass a gun law restricting the capacity for the amount of bullets you can have in a gun, or the amount of guns you can have, etc., that doesn't do anything to the ones who are committing the crimes in the first place. That's just a straight fact. And all these mass shootings are happening in gun-free zones where you're not allowed as a law-abiding citizen to own firearms. And what are you if you're a mass shooter? You go to a place where it's fish in a barrel. It's fish in a barrel. A bunch of people where are fully disarmed. That's a situation where you're not going to meet any opposition. So for people maybe from the UK who are like, dude, I don't know, man, guns, like they're loud, they are scary looking, they can kill. Well, hold on a second, because I know. So I grew up in Canada, and grew up around guns. Grandparents had guns. I mean, I know people who even have their great-grandparents' rifle from World War I that literally saw combat, and it's hanging on their wall, or it's in the gun cabinet. And, shooting shotguns, 12 years old, shooting clay pigeons. Clay pigeons, for everyone wondering, it's a little piece of clay that you shoot in the sky. You just throw it in target practice. Very normal. Very normal. People here have guns in their vehicles. We're not allowed to carry them, which is lame, extremely lame. Like, I can't tell you folks in the States, if you're in a state, you're allowed to carry a firearm on your person, or you're allowed to have a pistol, for example, on your person. Like, that is, you got a right. And if you give up that right, you got to be nuts. Because if I was in the States and they're trying to take away that right, we already lost that right in Canada, because too many people thought, oh, maybe we'll be safer if the government has more control over our lives. That's seemingly what people must have thought. But my point is this. It's very normal here. Most parents in their house have a gun cabinet, a couple firearms, etc. Now, no one has a situation where, there's mass shootings in small towns where everyone's armed. Like, literally, I'm going to tell you right now, probably 70%, maybe even up to 90% of the homes in rural Ontario have firearms, okay? Have shotguns, rifles, hunting, even, crossbows, knives, all kinds of stuff. Like, there's an arsenal up here, okay? There's not an increase in shootings. There's not an increase in homicides, okay? Extremely, extremely rare. The police are armed. I know in the UK, it's like when they see an armed cop, it's like, holy shit, that cop has a gun. Okay, well, first they should. They're dealing with, crazy people, criminals, knife wielding, whatever. They should have firearms. I don't see how a cop in the UK is going to walk around going to like burglary and assault calls and just have a taser, which literally are 50-50. 50% of the time they work, 50% of the time they don't even administer a shock to the guy. So my point is this. It should be normalized. Do you remember when my parents were going to school, there was target practice. Kids would bring their 22s, okay, 22 caliber rifles to school and do target practice, okay? in this town that I'm in, what was it, 70 years ago, kids would go to school with their rifles, with ammo, hopefully not loaded. That's not proper firearm safety, and they would do target practice at the school, man. Could you imagine the softies today fathoming that possible thing to have happen? Are you kidding me? So look at how far we've come. And remember, a part of Agenda 21 is to restrict and completely strip the firearm rights from the people in the entire world. That is the plan. That's why in every country that has firearms right now, you'll see, shooting, let's ban guns. Another shooting over here, let's ban guns. They're inflaming the anti-gun lobby. And for someone who's maybe wondering, dude, hold on a second, dude. This is very strange because you're saying, guns and all this, but here's the thing. When they are passing a law to ban, for example, in Canada, they have banned multiple different firearms, okay? Or they're pushing through to ban them. But the problem is that the same guns, there's weapons that fire identical bullets with the same magazine capacity that aren't being banned. They're banning guns like the AR-15, okay? Which shoots 7.62 by 39 millimeter. And then they have other rifles that fire the exact same bullet with the same magazine capacity, the same number of rounds. In other words, the same deadly power, but they're not banning those. They're banning scary looking guns that shoot the same bullet as other guns that they're not banning. So if you understand that for a second, like I'm telling you something that if the millions and millions of people who watched the mainstream news understood what I'm saying right now, they'd be like, dude, this is literally bullshit. Why are they banning these guns? Because think about it. If they're banning one gun because of the look of it, but yet the other gun does the exact same thing and is not being banned, then why are they really banning it? Because that doesn't seem logical. Really doesn't seem logical. So what's the true reason? The reason they're trying to ban guns is because they're trying to do something that they don't want you to be armed for. I'm not saying go out there and, obviously, like peaceful civil disobedience is good. But I'm just saying this, I got the caliber wrong there, last of a Thyssen breed, but I'm saying they're banning certain guns that have the exact same bullet as other guns that they're not banning. Now, Rise Above 347 said military assault rifles do more damage than a rifle. So first things first, there's no such thing as an assault rifle. That's not a legitimate classification of rifle. That assault rifle does not exist. That's right, Saguru. It is AK round. My bad. Assault rifle does not exist. If you hear anyone saying like, we got to ban these deadly military style assault rifles, that's all bullshit. None of those words connect to any type of rifle that exists. They're made up terms to literally romanticize the idea of certain weapons being extra deadly. Okay. But when they're trying to ban guns that, like, for example, you would see, certain firearms that have wood on them. And you think, yeah, that's like a hunting gun. And then you see another firearm that's more black. Be like, yeah, that's like a military style. They shoot the same bullet. And they have the same amount of bullets in per capacity, like per magazine. So they're no more deadly. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. That's a way to get you to go, damn, assault rifle. Okay, we don't need that. And you'll hear the common rhetoric of like, dude, honestly, I just don't think that you need an assault rifle, a deadly military style assault rifle to bring down a deer. Well, here's the thing. Let me just tell you something about you need to fact check every Sidiot who tells you that. And I'm not calling you a Sidiot if you're from a city. I'm saying that it's a bit of a Sidiot thing to say, dude, you don't need this certain type of rifle to, my blue light filter is on Lakido 212. Thank you. You don't need a certain type of rifle for a deer. Just so you know, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and the right to bear arms in Canada, the two different like universal laws that we got here, were absolutely not made about like to give you the right to hunt deer. They were giving you the right to have firearms to be able to defend yourself against either invaders, like let's say just, if some other country parachuted down and you have a whole entire country of armed Minutemen, essentially everyone's armed, or governments. That is exactly why the Second Amendment, they didn't write the second, like not the third, the fourth, the fifth, like literally number 2 on there is the right to bear arms. They didn't have that there because they were talking about hunting a deer or shooting ducks, okay, for food. They're talking about so that if your government ever gets a little bit intense, they won't try to round you up like every other communist regime did and, be, easy pickings and fish in a barrel. That's exactly why, those... So if anyone tells you, dude, like you don't need it to bring down a deer, it's not for a deer, bud. It's for the right to defend my family. If someone's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, we said this before, and then I'll move on. If someone's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, would you rather have a police officer on the phone or a gun in your hand? People say, you're paranoid when you have a gun. You must be paranoid. Why would I be paranoid? I got a gun. What's to be paranoid about? Anything happens, you're literally sitting at, you know what I'm saying? So please don't fall for the common misbelief that, you should definitely be fully disarmed and you'll be safe. Remember, anytime you give up a freedom in exchange for security, that is history on repeat. That's what every single one of those communist regimes in Cambodia, when they banned guns, they said there'll be no more shootings. Hand in your guns, Cambodia. Cambodians hand in their guns. And the government murdered tens of millions of them. That's just like a historical fact. Like I'm not saying like that's about to happen, but I'm just saying, damn. So if you're in a state or a country right now where you can own a firearm, you got to be nuts to not. The term assault rifle is based if it's fully automatic and cartridge/drum size for bullets. No, that's not why they call it assault rifle. They'll call an AR-15 with a 5 bullet magazine capacity. They'll call that an assault rifle. It has nothing to do with the cartridge or drum size. I mean, there's, that the magazine doesn't dictate if it's an assault rifle or not, because assault rifle doesn't exist. Like literally, assault rifle doesn't exist. You'll hear these people on CNN holding, and it's hilarious. I can't believe that some of these people who are lecturing on gun control literally have no idea like the different parts. Like they've never even held or fired a gun. They're saying we got to get rid of this piece here and get rid of this dangerous contraption here and everything. And it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And they're calling guns that are semi-automatic assault rifles as well. And there are some firearms that you can shoot as fast as fully automatic. Okay. So no different than full auto, semi-auto, just as fast, but one, they're trying to ban and the other you can still have. Makes no sense. It's not supposed to make sense. It is not supposed to make sense. The only reason anyone thinks assault rifles exist is because Call of Duty has a gun class called assault rifle. That's it. So that is 100% the reason. And I wish more people got, and by the way, when you go to, if you ever go to a gun show or a gun store, you'll have a conversation. You'll have some conversation. You know how I tell you, you go to a farmer's market and you discuss, someone said AR stands for assault rifle. AR is Armalite Rifle. That's the company name. It's not assault rifle. The same way you go to a farmer's market and you start talking to these farmers, and they're aware. When I went to Kelowna in British Columbia, and I talked to the guy there, and he was talking about how the surrounding vineyards, that grow grapes for wine, they get grants from the government to be able to grow that. They get basically interest-free loans from the government. This is before the March 2020, you know what I'm talking about. Before all that, they were giving grants to people to grow pesticide-sprayed grapes to make alcohol, but they were not giving any grants to organic farmers who were growing food. That is strange to me. That is very strange. By the way, if you're from the United States and you see sometimes in some comments on Instagram or a different place on the internet and people are chirping like America because of their guns and whatnot, I'll tell you something. The mainstream media has warped the minds of the rest of the world in many ways to think America is this violent hellhole with mass shootings all the time, etc., when really it's one of the last standing places on earth with freedom. One of the I'll tell you right now, the last stand for human freedom. I mean, think about it for a second. In the United Kingdom, you can go to jail for a tweet. In Australia, the cops are knocking on people's doors for making posts on Facebook. They've given up their firearms, and now they're going after their First Amendment right, which is the freedom of speech. Okay, people literally have been jailed in the United Kingdom for questioning different things that I don't really want to talk about on here, but they questioned it publicly on the internet, and they got cops at their door. They got taken to jail. People are going to jail for exercising freedom of speech in these countries. And these are the same countries that are saying, America, you and your guns. Well, let me tell you something. If you ever read the book, Behold a Pale Horse, you're going to have a little read about, what exactly was foretold as basically what's going to happen in the future. And all I'm going to say is type in gun control, behold a pale horse, and you screenshot that, and someone type that in here, and then screenshot it, type that in, and see what that guy predicted. Monica Finotica just made a statement here that I'm not going to repeat, but there is some extreme truth to what she just said. On my main account, sorry, Connected Conscious TV, sorry, Get Chalk. If you're tuning in on my main OG account, you'll see what I'm talking about. Exactly, Bill Cooper, you know what I'm talking about. So, that's why I just want you to, don't be sitting back and thinking, damn, I'm in a country that's, violent, blah, blah, blah. Remember this, just simply remember this, 90% of the shootings you see in the United States happen in places with the strictest gun control. In other words, these other countries around the world are seeing you as selfish for exercising one of your amendment rights, the right to bear arms. And that there's some videos, and I swear these people were paid operatives, who went viral, who went on film after the Florida Parkland completely FAKE shooting, and with that, who is it, Nick, the guy who got super famous from that, the guy who's 21 and in grade 10, and he was interviewed 100 times about the shooting, the Parkland shooting. You know what I'm talking about? That kid, I forget his name, Chris, or what is his name, but he was full of shit, and everyone was exposing him, and then he turned off his comments, and it was a serious operation that hundreds of thousands of Americans saw through. And I know for a fact that because there was posts, Reddit was exploding with people questioning it. We had thousands of different posts that I saw of people saying there's something going on here. But anyways, after the Parkland shooting, we had these people who, went on TV or went on YouTube, recorded a video. David Hogg, thank you, SIC Incorporated. David Hogg, okay? David Hogg, man, I forgot how much we were roasting that guy in 2016 or 2017. Must have been maybe even 2018. Remember that? Anyways, there was videos of people sawing in half, okay? Taking one of their firearms that was in their basement locked up, sawing it in half on camera, be like, I just don't want one more shooting to happen. And then they film themselves cutting a gun in half and being like, I did my part. This will never be used in a shooting. And I'm thinking, that's literally the equivalent of chopping off, doing what Biden's health minister did, chopping off your you-know-what, to help lower the global population. To cut off your own junk to save the global population. That's literally the equivalent of that. No one's going to use your gun in a shooting. It's in your house, man. It's locked up. Are you kidding me? And all these shootings happen anyway, when they're even real, are with illegally obtained firearms. So the mainstream media publicized hardcore these videos of these surely groomed agents, cutting guns in half in their backyard, saying they're helping to stop shootings from happening. I got news for you, boy. That will never stop a shooting, and that's literally the stupid. That's literally like driving alone in your car, windows shut, mask on to protect others. That's literally the same thing, man. I'm going to tell you right now. So please don't fall for it, man. Do not fall for it. And when I see, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of countries that in the world stage that see America and they go, our government is completely railing us, but you know what? It's not as bad as the United States. It's not as bad as the United States. And a lot of countries try to roast the U.S. in terms of what? because of what the mainstream news paints the United States to be. Like, in a way, you know, different countries, like, you know, even Canada, United States, get portrayed as like super, well, maybe not so much Canada, but with shootings. Like when I was in Grenada and people were there saying like, oh, we don't want to, like, the States, like, it's dangerous, man. I'm thinking, dude, like, I've been to the States like 5 times. What are you talking about? Like, it's literally, so there's a mass mind control going on with people to be thinking that one of the places that has still the freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms. Okay. You got Texas. Are you kidding me? And, then there's these countries thinking, America, man. And that is a trick to get you, instead of being like, damn, like America, like it's the last standing place of freedom. It's where the last stand will be, man. Texas, okay? Texas will be the place with the last stand. Let's kick this wingnut out. Texas will be the last stand. If it gets any further, okay, because they already announced, by the way, the passport. You know what we've been talking about, the passport? We've been talking about the passport. Well, they announced October, there's a real ID. Do you remember when in 2019, when everyone was posting about ID 2020, remember that? We're like, how the hell are they going to get everyone to have a digital ID? How would they all of a sudden get everyone to have a digital ID and totally connect everyone to the Internet of Things and whatnot? Q Schmovid. You know what I'm talking about? Q, the C word, rhymes with Ovid. Q it. That thing, that invisible thing that's supposedly floating around killing everyone, is the key to controlling the food supply, controlling freedom. They're banning anyone. Like, this is the thing. They're using, they say that people are promoting dangerous conspiracies about this thing floating around supposedly killing everyone. They say that we have to increase censorship of the internet because more and more people are spreading extremely dangerous, literally violently dangerous, like you will kill someone with that opinion. That's literally what they want you thinking. And so they use that as an excuse to literally ban all kinds of speech on the internet. Not hate speech, not conspiracy speech. Like, they cranked up the dial, okay, to ever since March of 2020. Remember how few fact checks there were before that? After March 2020, man, I got a fucking post about bumblebees fact checked since this whole thing went down. Bumblebees. Apparently, according to mainstream, bumblebees do not levitate, you idiot, for even believing that. That's what basically they called me. I mean, my post is all over their site. I have single-handedly, and I don't like to, I don't really think this is that cool of a thing. It actually kind of sucks because obviously my name's on their damn little blue board, or their little whiteboard with their blue hair, I should say. But no disrespect if you got blue hair, it's just a joke. But 3 different posts I got fact checked. One was the bumblebee post. Bumblebees don't levitate according to the mainstream news. The next is the signature planting post. I basically created that fact check in terms of my post is the only one plastered all over their entire site saying this fake post was shared on Facebook and Instagram and it's fake, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't mention me by name, which is good. And then the third one is, I forget the third one off the top of my head. I'll remember it. I choose to remember. But my point is this. Fact checks have been coming out the yin yang ever since, unfortunately, this whole thing went down. And this thing is the golden bullet, the silver bullet, okay? To being able to reach all of their goals that they already had planned before. ID 2020, restricting more freedom of speech online, controlling the food supply. Right now, they're killing pigs, they're killing cows, they're killing chickens, and they have the emergency powers. Remember, they may not have the power on a bright sunny day, but if they snap their fingers and give themselves an emergency authorization, they got your ass. They've appointed themselves the right to go and kill a lot of animals to save them from different viruses, because they're already saying this virus supposedly can spread through animals. So they're doing that to wean people off of any amount of sufficiency that they're already having on their land, on their farm, etc. And this is the perfect Trojan horse. Like, it literally knocks off everything. Money's dirty now. Let's go digital. You bastards have been planning that for how many decades? We want a digital ID so we can make sure everything's just together in one place and safe and everything. Yeah, you guys planned that for a long time too. You know, oh wow, this guy got fact checked for saying that mandatory schmaminations are a direct violation of the Nuremberg Code. Yeah, don't say that, man. Apparently it's false. Opinions are false. And by the way, they have posted several, I love water. They have posted several times that these conspiracy theories are literally dangerous. They don't say conspiracy theories. They say dangerous conspiracy theories. Like it is literally, like it is a danger to think these certain opinions. And then of course there's, I don't know if I want to say this, but I do want to say it. There's schmaxine hesitancy, which is apparently another huge danger. People being hesitant to, oh man, I got to save the rest of this talk for my website, man. I'd love to go in on that. I was just listening to JW Foods. I don't know if you watch Rebel News. They interview some cool people sometimes. They got their limits. They can't push it to the edge, but just like I can. Like I could, you know, there's certain things right here that I'm not about to talk about, but I'll send a voice note in the Telegram and talk about it. But, you know, in JW Foods, he's talking about, well, I don't even know why I brought it up because I can't talk about that right now. So I'll send you a Telegram voice note after this about what I was just about to say. Should I remember? Should you remind me? And we'll go from there. But my point is this, is that it's very, very strange how many different little plans they've had for decades. Like they literally have planned for decades to ban cash and make it full digital. Because if you have full, like, you know, removing cash transactions creates billions of dollars more in taxes. Like you can't launder you can still launder money, but cash is a big control that like the people have to be able to pay in cash, to be able to do things with cash, etc. But if everything is on digital currency, because they say cash is dirty, like all they need to do is this. I could already see the headline. Old lady gets $10 bill from the bank, gets a deadly racist, homophobic virus from the dollar bill. And now she has passed away violently ill. And we got to do something about this cash, man. People go on camera cutting their dollar bills in half. I won't be a part of this, cutting their money into pieces. I won't be a part of this cash society. It's so dangerous. I already see it, man. That is exactly where they would take it. And there's people who would literally think, you know what? You're right, dude. We actually, like, fuck cash. This old lady died and cash isn't king anymore. Cash is no longer king. You know, I hear two things. I hear cash is king, and you hear cash is trash. And well, it's true. I mean, if you got a lot of cash, you want to put it into things, but you know, cash is also king in the sense that you can give it around and then pass it around and not be traced. When all transactions are traced, that is something else. That is something else when all transactions are traced. Think about it for a second. One time I was at a job site, okay, building cottages. And this Italian guy comes up from the city. And I swear, man, he put a $50,000 deposit, cash, briefcase, to the guy I was working for at the time, my boss. And we're looking at this cash, we're going, holy fuck. And I can tell you that he didn't have to write that expense off. He didn't have to pay taxes on that cash because that was fully under the table. No one will ever know where that came, where that went. And that type of thing will never be possible if they ban cash and have everyone on a digital currency. Now, look, I don't know if that guy earned that money necessarily, you know. I don't know. Like, hopefully no one was harmed in the making of it. But my point is this, is that people should be able to pay cash. And they've wanted to ban it for so long. And now they're already pushing it through the books that, hey, we got dangers with cash. It could have a damn bacteria on it. Hey, come on. Don't be bullshit. Now, here's another thing that they wanted to do. The Earth's energy systems are very inefficient and very old and antiquated. And so we got to do the new system. Have you noticed that how many politicians have you heard using the same terminology? Build back better, reimagine, rebuild, rethink, reinvent. Okay, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. I just watched the World Economic Forum guy, one of the head spokespeople for the World Economic Forum, on TV say that the future is going to be unlocking so many things, man. We're going to have so many different things. One of the things is that you're going to walk into a room and there's going to be so much interaction. There's going to be, sensors and this and that. And then I hear the guy who's watching him say that pause the video and go, dude, I'm pretty sure we already have that type of thing. We have our ears, our eyes, our nose, we have taste buds. Like, we already have all the perception we need, dude. We don't need to artificial intelligence a room and make everything automated in order to, have a great time in this world. Then he keeps going and says, how great would it be? And this is with a straight face. Like, let me just tell you something. This is literally with a straight face. This guy, World Economic Forum, is sitting there and says, look, it'll be so great when you wake up in the morning and he said there's highly, he used it literally 3 times, the term highly, personalized information and data about you, your computer will know. And it will be able to help make decisions for you. And it will be able to help you in where you want to go that day. And again, the interview paused it and is like, dude, you want to wake up and go and talk to your computer and your computer say, you want to go do this today? Or do you want to do? And it's like, dude, this is what you have to understand. They're trying to sell you the idea of merging your DNA and your house and your life with artificial intelligence. They're trying to sell you on it. But because underlyingly it is wrong, false, and there's an ulterior motive to it, you will always see the Freudian slip. You'll see the bullshit around it, because it's truly, like, there's truly an agenda behind it. So let me tell you, if they're trying to convince you to connect your home, your house, and you to artificial intelligence, they tried to sell you by saying your computer will help you make decisions, like, about what you're going to do that day. That's what this literally guy said on World Economic Forum. What a ridiculously horrible, shitty, like, I could think of a better way to try to sell you on AI than to say it could help you decide what you want to do on any given day. So then, if that's not why, because I'll tell you why, or I'll tell you what they're not trying to get you connected to artificial intelligence because they want a computer to be able to help make your day easier. They want you connected to AI because I don't mean even the guy talking at the World Economic Forum. I'm talking about the controllers of this matrix that we are in right now will have unwavering control over the entire world. That is exactly why. Not because they're trying to make your life easier with the computer, not because it's more efficient or better for the environment. It's because they want full-blown control over all of the natural world, all of this entire world. And that's why you have dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of movies that are promoting artificial intelligence, that are promoting... we've talked about this a few times, but it's still, when I rewatched... Hold on, get Jock 1 sec. I gotta put the blue light on. There we go. Night shift mode. Who else is using night shift mode? I hope you're using night shift mode right now, man. Don't want to be frying your eyes. But when I saw Spider-Man 2, it was very, very... Because I watched that as a kid many, many times. But then seeing it, when knowing what their plan is with artificial intelligence, and seeing Dr. Octavius being a nice guy, good guy, cool guy, the power of the natural world and divine intelligence and this universal energy was flowing through him. He was a nice guy. He was telling Peter Parker, you're a good guy, dude, you're great. And then when he got connected to that damn tentacle arm, octopus arm, metallic things, and the reporter asked him, Dr. Octavius, what are you going to do if that thing tries to control your mind? Like, what are you going to do about the artificial intelligence in those things? Like, it's going to try to control you. And he said, yeah, that's why I got the inhibitor chip on the tip top of the back of my spine. And that will help me what did he say? That'll help me, like, keep my higher brain function. So I won't be able to be controlled by AI, basically is what he said. Now, just so you know, and this is how you know pretty much everything Elon Musk and these fools do is bullshit. In Spider-Man 2, the way that his mind and he was able to control these octopus arms, okay, with his mind, was that they had little tiny things as big as a syringe, like as thin as like a strand of hair, that were injected into his spine and that connected to nerve sites. Those nerve sites are what is how it fused to his mind, so he could use his brain to control these arms. So that was the merging of man with machine, okay? But then when he got electrocuted, I'm about to answer you too, Majestic Sun Girl. When he got electrocuted and the inhibitor chip broke, artificial intelligence controlled Dr. Octavius's mind, and he became an evil guy, started killing people, started breaking the city, wrecking the city up. He almost hurt Aunt May. Remember when he broke off Aunt May's wall of her house? Remember in Spider-Man 2? Can't be the only one who knows what I'm talking about here. But my point is this. Very, very strange that they're hiding it in your face. And this is why, think about it. If they want you full-blown artificial intelligence, merged with machine, etc., then the exact opposite of that is returning to nature, returning to Earth's natural systems, returning to the natural world, and doing the exact opposite. Because remember this, the equivalent, so yes, they want to merge humanity with artificial intelligence. Like every single person in every single city, in every single country in the world, they want merged with artificial intelligence. No one's going to be able to, you can run, you can't hide. You want to hide out in the forest, they got infrared. If one day they really wanted to round you up, this is why you can't run away from this. We got to face it. There's no running away from it. We got to face it. And we can't have any fear either. I don't really sense any fear from any of you. I see smiley faces, laughing faces. It's good. Don't be scared, because being scared, fear is the vibration lowering emotion. You don't want fear. But anyways, they want to yes, connect us to AI. But here's the thing. They already basically connected a biological life form to AI in the form of genetically modified foods. When you hear the company name, or the term for these companies called biotech companies, that's biology and technology. Biotech, okay? Leslie Damey said, this honestly leaves me no desire to have children. Well, here's the thing. If you want to change the earth, you got to change the way we birth. So if you start watching Janice Barcelo and what's that movie? The Business of Being Born, and you start seeing those types of things, you'll see that one of the biggest kryptonites you can bring into this world that would completely screw over this isn't why you do it, but you want to bring a little John Connor into this reality. Okay. I'm talking, you want to bring a little, the guy who went back in time in the Terminator to stop the evil system. You want to do that? You bring a baby into this world that hasn't been ultrasounded, that hasn't been, the other medical procedure they do, that hasn't been completely altered at birth and all these different things, and you bring it in naturally and you breastfeed it and you give that colostrum the first couple of days and you get it healthy, no GMOs, no fluoride, unlike most of us, which all of us have been pretty much exposed to everything I just mentioned. There's literally probably like a fraction of a percent of the world of people who haven't been ultrasounded before they're born. Ultrasound is DNA damage. Now, don't worry if that happened to you, or if you did that to your kids. We can rejuvenate and restore it, but I just want to tell you that is part of the silent weapons system. The silent weapons attack on humanity is ultrasound. And it came from Nazi technology, by the way. Sonar. That sonar is a technology. They beam sound waves in the ocean, bouncing off things to paint back a picture to wherever it radiated the signal from. Well, when you have... One sec, I will. When you have... Chick's been spamming this whole time, man. When you have a baby that's floating around in water in the amniotic sac, and then you get a ultrasound, which is sound waves, and it goes into that water, very, very loud for the baby, by the way, can have very unfortunate effects to the brain, to the ears, like it can cause even deafness and stuff like that. A lot of genetic defects are from not because the mom and dad are inferior or what and this and that, but because of the potential of the ultrasound. But when I tell you this, don't go, oh shit, I ultrasounded my kid, blah, blah, blah. Go like this. Oh, I'm going to first I'm going to gather more information so I can fully verbalize that. And then I'm going to share it to friends and family who first you got to fully know it though. Don't try to turn around to your friend who's pregnant right now and be like, oh shit, like don't get ultrasounds. There's shit for you. Because you won't even be able to know what you're talking about. You got to maybe watch literally like an hour. There's a couple documentaries on YouTube that expose ultrasounds. You got to, watch these. Internalize it, then you can turn around and say, look, just so you know, this, and this, only in the last 60 years have we ever been ultrasounding children. Before that, the entire world population got to where it was without ultrasounds. By the way, the more and more tests they do, the more and more likely, like they're looking for something for them that they can say is a reason to alter the course of your natural birth. Oh, the cord's wrapped around the neck. Well, first things first, the cord can never strangle a baby wrapped around its neck because it's stretchy enough that it couldn't possibly, like, it can stretch 12 times its length, and it's coated in, what's it called? It's coated in a type of, mucus that it couldn't get tight enough to strangle the baby. That's just in your mind, you think of like a cord around a neck, and you're like, oh shit. But you got to understand, the whole time the baby's in there, he's playing with that cord, is wrapping around his own neck, he's wrapping around his, what? I mean, he's playing with the cord. That's one of the first toys, yanking on it. And don't worry about that around the neck. But that's one of the things they do to try to alter your natural birth and get you to do a C-section. And then another thing they do is they say, the cord is attached to the placenta based on this extremely fuzzy, almost invisible ultrasound picture we have here that's black and white that we can barely see, you can barely see, and we're going to base this small, almost, without any real facts, we're going to alter your childbirth. That is, essentially what they're doing when they're taking you in for all these different test. I know many people who've had 0 tests, fully natural childbirth, home birth, at home, chilling, no even midwives, like literally just the partner and, just the girl and the guy. And look, you're technically fully designed and built to reproduce. Don't think necessarily need people in there measuring how many centimeters, like let me get a ruler up there. You don't need that. Let it come out. It can't stay in there forever. What are you going to do? Calculate, write on a computer, Google. What do I do when it's only 6 centimeters out? I tell you, half of this stuff they learn in school, man, it's for a different reason. It's not for your safety. I'm going to tell you that. Anyway, so what I was saying is that the exact opposite of merging with machine. Some people are going to be pissed. They're like, dude, keep going on that path, man. But now you're going back to this other thing. But some people ask me about AI. I mean, we're going back and forth here. But if their plan is to connect to you and get you farthest away from nature as possible, which is connected to a computer, then the opposite of that, that's it, boy. You're in my house. You don't be talking smack. Then the opposite of that is getting back to the natural world. Someone said, what's the lady's name? Janice Barcelo, Barcelo. Oh, yes. Then I got onto how GMOs are biotech, biology and technology, which is a plant or a crop that has a completely modified gene sequence. And I remember posting years ago, and a lot of people said, dude, what even is a GMO? And I had just found out about it. I could barely even, explain what it is. I'm like, it's a genetically modified, like it's kind of blah, blah, blah. Now it's a little more clear what they are. They're a chimera hybrid that alters your DNA. You think they're just trying to alter your DNA with aborted fetal cells that's in certain products that have the ingredient called natural flavors, which is legally allowed to be aborted fetal cells? You think they want to alter your DNA with this new thing that they're telling everyone to get in order to get a passport? You know what I'm talking about. You think that's modifying your DNA? One of the biggest gene modifiers that they're not talking about is the gene modified food that millions, hundreds of millions of people are eating, and that alters DNA. But let me just tell you something. Whoa, you're going to be sitting there like, dude, fuck, I had a GMO today and I'm feeling like shit. So what does this mean? Am I screwed? Am I screwed? Here's the thing. Your body is always ready and willing to start rejuvenating and restoring and repairing, but it requires some assistance. It can't exactly sit there, consume GMOs every single day and be able to rejuvenate itself. Power of the mind is powerful, but you may need to add some additional things in there. And this is why my stories today, specifically when I mentioned that the sun gives off wavelengths of light and all food in nature contains, all the energy we get from food is recycled sun energy. But your body can only absorb and utilize that sun energy to its entire, to its maximum potential if you have minerals in you, because minerals are frequencies of light, and they are, minerals are what ignite every single different biological process in the body. And minerals build DNA because your DNA is light codes. Think about it. Minerals, frequencies of light, DNA, light codes. They work together. And this is why many people are talking about how it's very strange that they are taking away minerals from the food and water supply by spraying unfortunate chemicals, by modifying the entire damn DNA of the plant. And I'll tell you, this is a very slippery slope. If we don't turn things around, I already heard people talking about it, that 2040, like mass infertility, like global depopulation. Oh, that's another reason why, lady, if you're still in here and you're wondering you don't want to have a kid, listen, hey, there was never, our ancestors had kids during world wars, during Cuban Missile Crises, during famines, during depressions, during droughts, floods, there's never a ultimately perfect 100%, time, for example, that it's absolutely 100% perfect. But I'll tell you that, you're going to be feeling great when you're 30, 40 years old and you got a 10, 20-year-old and you're hanging out and you got friends, you got, family, your own versions of you running around. I'll tell you that right now. Better than holding back, worried, and then, So my point is this, is that when you have rare bioavailable minerals in your system, you're able to, that's what rebuilds DNA. That is what rebuilds and repairs DNA. So I ate a bunch of GMOs and I know that, and that does affect, I would be worried about what's my future, what's my offspring going to be like if I have had all these unfortunate chemicals and whatnot. And a lot of people are asking me that. They're like, dude, I literally drank fluoride for 15 years. Is this going to mess up future, this, that? Well, no, not if you take the steps to rejuvenate and restore. But if you sit back and just keep going down the same path and you don't rejuvenate and restore, you may have an issue. That's for sure. So someone asked me today, best thing for DNA. You don't hear many things like, oh, this is a good thing for healthy eyesight or this or that. But you don't hear people talking about what's the best thing for DNA repair. Because remember, there is little dormant DNA strands in your body right now that are sitting there waiting to be activated, that have maybe been turned off since you were ultrasounded when you were a couple of months grown, still in the womb. You know what I'm talking about? Because no one knows. I could talk more about ultrasound, but no one fully knows the effect of these secret, invisible sound waves that hit the baby's DNA. No one fully knows what it does, except probably the people who are making it and the, black magicians, the dark forces that are behind some of these technologies that they think are for safety and to make sure you're safe. Please. Miss Mama's R said, I wasn't ultrasounded. Bless. Yeah, that is bless. I'd call up my parents right now if I were you. Get off this live, give them a call, say thank you to the heavens. But I was probably ultrasounded twice. I turned out all right. But, it's all about rejuvenating, restoring, and power of the mind. So someone asked the best thing for DNA rejuvenation. And I would have to say the top 2 chalk supplements for DNA supporting healthy, genetic function, which is the opposite of what Billy G wants you to be doing right now, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say his name. I don't need to say his name. Organic wild crafted Irish moss or the purified shilajit, which are probably the 2 flagships from chalk. The purified shilajit, as you know, is the only, and I want to talk about this a little later on, but is the only clinically studied hot water purified shilajit that exists on the market. Most of you here probably could literally say the thing I just said because you've heard it many times, that it is the only clinically studied hot water purified shilajit. And that is true. But the important thing to know is that the rare trace minerals that are in shilajit, your body really appreciates getting bioavailable minerals, especially if they have, because shilajit, for example, the main bioactive plant compound that's responsible for the brain enhancing benefits, the benefits to DNA, the benefits to energy levels, hormones, boosts testosterone for men, balances estrogen for ladies, is the fulvic acid. This the main bioactive plant compound in shilajit responsible for its benefits. So this is definitely one of the musts. And then the other one, which you'll see, like I said, a dime a dozen all over the internet. You'll see all Irish moss, sea moss. Some people calling it sea moss, even though it's Irish moss. They don't want to pay homage to the Irish. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you that most of it comes from places with a lot of microplastics and a lot of fertilizers, and you don't want either of those. A true superfood, I'll tell you something. I didn't really think much of it. It's not really that much of a superfood, man. It's just this green that's grown in the ocean. Irish moss is an ancient, literally ancient superfood. It is one of the superfoods of the world, one of the most potent superfoods in the world, 100%. And so when you start taking organic, wild-crafted Irish moss from the pristine cold waters of Nova Scotia in Canada, okay, 3 capsules per dose is the daily recommended dose. And you start getting the amount of parts per million of bioavailable minerals in an organic superfood that's certified, wild-crafted, etc., you're going to be feeling different. And I can tell you something. before I go on, even if you are eating fully organic right now, which many people aren't, even if you've been eating fully organic for the last several years, you're still only getting less than 10% of the minerals that your body requires. And throughout history, your ancestors have always had every single day. Every single day, they were getting the full matrix of minerals because it was everywhere. Any food. You couldn't get a potato in the 1800s and the 1700s that didn't have all the minerals in it. It was grown in healthy soil. They didn't have chemical fertilizers. So this is why every day I'm taking the Choq Irish Moss. Okay, someone asked where can I get this? Is the CHOQ Choq Irish Moss. And by the way, since it's the end of the month, Choq did activate the end of month blowout. Okay, for 55% off all orders store wide. I think they're closing the deal early, likely a day early, based on how many people already got in today when we posted that video of the smashing organic pumpkins. But if there's a time that you want to try the Female Vitality Bundle, which is best for ladies, the Daily Action Combo, which is best for men, the Action 2.0, the main ingredient is the Rhodiola rosea, which is wild crafted, wild harvested from the Siberian Altai mountain range. You want to look at a place on Google Maps, go to Siberia, go in between Siberia, Russia, and China, and there's a pretty big mountain range. You can actually see, if you Google rhodiola and you see what the flower looks like, you go on Google Maps and you zoom into Siberia and you click, you'll see there's a mountain range. I'll try to show you it. You can literally see rhodiola growing on the mountains. And the rhodiola extract that's in Action 2.0, which is super beneficial for energy levels, for cortisol response, like your stress response, to make sure you're not overloaded with cortisol, which can throw all your other hormones out of whack. That extract is in Action 2.0, the rhodiola. Very, very powerful stuff. And so if there's a time you want to, start to see the difference your body feels when you're taking world-renowned supplements and ingredients, etc., now would be the time. It's the end of month blowout. This is a huge sale, 55% off all orders store-wide using the code 55OFF. Someone said, how often do you take all these supplements? All Choq supplements are formulated to work in conjunction with one another. I take all of them every single day. You may be saying, dude, are you sure you don't take one this day, one that day, this day, that day, back and forth? You know what I had every single day in the past? Fluoride, GMOs, atrazine, that reverses the genders of frogs, okay? I'm trying to do everything I can to give my system every damn chance it has to rejuvenate from all that stuff you don't want. So Adriana Cortez, yes, Choq.com, CHOQ. You're on, I think, Choq's live feed, because I'm on live on my account, TV account, and the Get Choq account. So I got the three Irish Moss here. And by the way, for those who are really looking for guys, I'm just saying the first case Ontario, I would say the Daily and the Tomcat. Okay, Daily and Tomcat. Like if you're looking at the website, you're getting a whole half off, 55% off. Look at the Daily, which is the only one that's specifically for men. All others can be for men and women. It can be taken by any gender, any of the hundreds of genders. I make that joke every time, but it doesn't get any less funny, man. Oh shit, is that bullying? I don't know. Just joking, man. And the Daily with the purified shilajit and the 4 other adaptogenic ingredients, highly, highly beneficial for men. And a lot of men especially are feeling super out of whack today because they're getting 1% of the testosterone they should have because their body doesn't even know how to produce it. I just watched a video on YouTube and this guy someone sent us the video, I just clicked it. This guy pranked this guy. He sprayed Febreze, like he woke him up by spraying Febreze in his face. Dude, endocrine disruptor out the yin yang. Talk about destroy his whole testosterone levels for 3 months, man. Definitely get on the purified shilajit, the main ingredient in the Choq Daily. And for guys to start, Daily Action Combo. For ladies, Female Vitality Bundle, which is the purified shilajit. And you can mix and match, by the way. Like I'm just giving you recommendations. But the Female Vitality Bundle is the purified shilajit and the 7 Wonders adaptogenic mushroom blend. The most powerful mushrooms in the natural world: chaga, lion's mane, turkey tail, cordyceps, maitake mushrooms. Highly, highly beneficial adaptogenic blend right here. Fully organic, certified organic. Tell me more about Choq.ca. Choq.ca is actually a radio show. Choq.com is the one that it has the Irish Moss, the purified shilajit, and all of the clinical studies. Purified shilajit from Choq.com, 8 different clinical studies on the benefits for brain function, energy levels, memory. Garana is asking. The rhodiola has 15 clinical studies. Powerful, powerful stuff. 55% off all orders store-wide using the code 55 off. We got 45 seconds left, folks. I want to see you on tomorrow night's live feed, maybe around this time, maybe a little earlier. People are commenting, saying they're feeling great, taking chalk. Amazing. Love hearing it. I'm going to take my Irish moss right here, and I'll catch you on tomorrow's live feed. Make sure you get on my Telegram. If you're not already on my Telegram, go to the link in my bio. Fourth link down, third link down, you'll see Telegram. Download the link, or download the app, rather. Join my Telegram channel. You're going to be seeing some stuff I can't be posting on here. XMachine23, DM me that same question. I'll be happy to answer. Talk soon, everyone. Much love. Great live feed. We'll talk to you later. And I'll post